Two movies, only one trophy, and the Academy is about to make us all rethink our math homework. On one side, you've got Sinners, the big, loud, undeniable juggernaut, and on the other hand is One Battle After Another, possibly representing Paul Thomas Anderson finally getting his Oscar. This isn't a good versus bad video, this is a crowd electricity versus awards gravity video. Let's break down who could actually be positioned the best regardless of who might be winning the conversation so far. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Garage. Gerald here with you, of course. In my next Oscars-related video here, I've really been battling within myself and my own brain to try to figure out what's going to win Best Picture this year. Which, by the way, you can follow me on Award Expert. I hope that you will consider doing so. I'm also on Letterboxd and all my socials. You can find me at any of those just under the Awards Garage. But I do have One Battle After Another as my presumed winner in Best Picture, as well as director for PTA and what would be adapted screenplay currently. However, I do not currently have One Battle predicted to win any acting prize. When you look at the Sinners side of things, it just recently broke the record for the most nominations ever at the Academy Awards with 16, which is a good stat to have in your corner, I would say. I also have that film winning 4 Academy Awards currently across all of the predictions that I'm making. That would include technical categories like original score and cinematography, but it also includes important top-of-the-line categories such as screenplay, this time original for Ryan Coogler, and an acting prize, which could be the tie-breaking victory in this One Battle versus Sinners scenario. I currently have Wunmi Mosaku from Sinners winning Best Supporting Actress, which I recognize could very easily go to Teyana Taylor or really anybody else in that category, as all in all, it is a toss-up. In just checking things like the Award Expert app today, the community has One Battle After Another with an 86% probability to win Best Picture there. The runner-up is Sinners, but only at 10%. And then on a similar note, sites such as Gold Derby, which do the same thing, ranking among users and experts, over there they have One Battle with a 77% chance to win Best Picture. Sinners as the runner-up, a little bit better than what showed on Award Expert at around 18%. And the gambling betting site Kalshi has One Battle with a 70% chance to win. Sinners in the second spot with a 23% chance to win, the highest possible win percentage among the sites I've mentioned on the video here. Now, Kalshi is an interesting one in particular to look at because when you look at Sinners, it is on a rise. It is closing the gap, as they say. But of course, even if it was a 23% probability, it's still a long way to go to get over that majority that it would need to win Best Picture at the Oscars. So why am I making this video? It seems obvious that One Battle is going to win, right? Well, if I factor in my predictions, and I think about the upcoming precursor results that we do not have yet, would be awards like the PGA, the SAG Ensemble Award, or just in general the success of these films at the SAG or the newly named Actor Awards, and the BAFTAs, which is essentially the British Oscars, which does matter in this case specifically because both of these films also got a ton of mentions over there, including a lot of the same categories that they're up for at the Academy Awards. So when it comes to the end of February and we have the majority, if not all of these results that I just mentioned, including other ones like the DGA, which will give out the award for the #1 director of the year, which is also most likely going to be one of these two guys, we will probably know what is likely to win that Best Picture prize. A couple graphics I made for this video to kind of work through this brainstorm session with you. There have been 10 times in the history of the PGA, which is over 30 years, that the winner for the PGA Best Picture did not go on to win the Oscar for Best Picture. And it's actually on a pretty good streak. Every PGA winner since the year 2020 has gone on to win the prize of Best Picture. The last time it happened where they did not cross over was when Parasite got one of the coolest wins in Oscars history, winning Best Picture over 1917, which was the expected favorite because of its success at the PGA and the DGA. Some other notable ones that kind of stood out to me when thinking about Sinners versus One Battle is a movie like Moonlight beating La La Land, which was the PGA winner that year, or even the movie Spotlight back in 2015, which beat The Big Short. That was a toss-up year. There were a lot of categories, and particularly Best Picture, that were kind of up for grabs the entire season. Certain movies were winning here, some were winning there, but nobody was really dominating. And we could have a similar situation going into these major precursors with Sinners in One Battle, where I think they're both going to take a share of various prizes. And then we also have other movies in the mix that are just waiting to spoil that have already gotten some pretty big prizes, like Hamnet, Chloe Zhao's film, which won Best Picture Drama at the Golden Globes, which in and of itself is a pretty good precursor. Now, the DGA, which is not necessarily directly a Best Picture precursor, although it usually does track with what movie ends up winning Best Picture regardless of the director prize. The last time that the DGA went to someone that did not end up winning Best Picture would have been in 2021 when The Power of the Dog or Jane Campion won the DGA, and Best Picture ended up going to kind of late surging underdog Coda from Apple. Another notable one, and it was a surge at the end of the season, was Parasite. Sam Mendes won the DGA for 1917 and the PGA, like I mentioned earlier, but of course Parasite ended up being one of the more shocking and frankly thrilling Best Picture wins in Oscars history. So as you can see, even though these two guild bodies do not always bat 1,000, they usually have a pretty good shot at predicting what will end up winning Best Picture because of the industry guild crossover with the Academy. But we always have those one-offs or those rare misses or strikeouts at the plate as well. Another graphic I made for you is the films that have won in the last 10 years of the Academy Awards, which is also when, and this isn't something you can measure really, but I think of this as kind of the changing of the tide with the Academy when it became a little more cool, a little more hip, and started to do things a little bit different from what we were used to in the 90s, 2000s, and definitely before that, with like old Academy, pinkies out while you're sipping hot tea type of films. On this graphic, I went back to Spotlight, which I mentioned earlier as a bit of a surprise Best Picture win in 2016. The other Best Picture wins were Moonlight, The Shape of Water, Green Book, Parasite, that I've already mentioned a few times, Nomadland. I did put an asterisk next to that one because that was the COVID year, which, not to take anything away from Chloe Zhao's picture there, but everything was just really fucking weird that year. I don't know what to tell you. Coda, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Oppenheimer, and of course last year's winner, Sean Baker's Anora. The other graphics are director, screenplay, editing, I'll explain in a second, lead acting, supporting acting, and then if there were any additional wins in technical categories or other miscellaneous below the line categories. You can see that there's no clear-cut recipe here. The only film that won everything that I'm thinking is an on the night of definite Best Picture win is Everything Everywhere All at Once, no pun intended. But it got director, screenplay, editing, of course Best Picture, and it got acting prizes for lead, Michelle Yeoh, and for supporting in 2 categories, which you don't even have to have for my graphic, but it got Jamie Lee Curtis, and of course Ke Huy Quan, and a delightful win for supporting actor. And it of course went on to win Best Picture without any other technical wins because frankly it did not need them. Even last year when you look at a film like Anora, it got Best Picture, but it also had Best Director, Best Screenplay, the editing prize. It had a lead acting win for Mikey Madison, and with no other text, that was plenty to get it over the hump for Best Picture. By the way, that year it also had the guild support of the DGA and the PGA for Sean Baker. But then you look at a film like Coda, for example. Coda had multiple nominations, but it did not win anywhere on the night of, with the exception of an acting prize. It got supporting actor for Troy Couture, which a lot of people were extremely pleased with, myself included. Another possible one-off or kind of different from the rest of the bunch that we talked about, there's a couple that I want to point out here before I go to my Sinners One Battle kind of split screen. Spotlight in 2016 and Moonlight in 2017. Spotlight only had the screenplay win in addition to Best Picture that night, even though it was nominated in other categories. That is a rare thing. Usually you have to have something else to go along with that screenplay win if you're going to win Best Picture. Spotlight is the rare example, at least in the last 10 years, of this not being the case. Even films like Green Book, who won screenplay, also had an acting prize with Mahershala Ali winning supporting actor. And in reference to that, and using Mahershala Ali as a segue, Moonlight, in one of the most infamous occurrences ever on an Academy stage, when the Best Picture announcement was fumbled, and the fingers have been pointed in various directions over the years, but the wrong Best Picture winner was announced in La La Land when it ultimately ended up going to Moonlight for Best Picture. The reason a lot of people did not even give pause to the La La Land announcement is because it was the PGA winner that year, as well as multiple other precursors, and it had the most nominations on the evening and it had been winning a lot of prizes that night, including director and acting prizes, particularly for Emma Stone in the lead actress category. And this is in addition to any other text that it won and the multiple nominations that it received. But Moonlight ended up overtaking that film and winning Best Picture. The only thing it had, in addition to screenplay, like we mentioned, is an acting prize, just like Green Book. And again, it was the same actor, Mahershala Ali, winning for a beautiful performance that is eerily similar, actually, to what Teyana Taylor's doing in terms of screen time and narrative push in One Battle After Another. Now, I bring all this up to say that, frankly, I don't know. And even though people in my comments and on the Award Expert app, etc., are saying that they know, they don't know. This could definitely go either way. Even though sites like Kalshi had it at 77-23, or the Award Expert app had it at 90-10, whatever you think that percentage is, whether it's 1% or whether it's 50%, Sinners definitely has a chance to win Best Picture this year. Even though I'm not currently predicting it, it's one of those things that wouldn't really surprise me. And you might say, why is that? Here's why. So if we fast forward to my predictions, and this is as of January 31st, by the way, of course, without a ton of the precursors that I just mentioned, which could change all of this in the drop of a dime. Right now, I do have One Battle After Another as the presumed winner for Best Director, Paul Thomas Anderson, Best Adapted Screenplay, which would also be for PTA, and the Best Editing Oscar, which is a huge crossover, but it is a very recent stat. In the last 3 Best Picture winners, the winner for Best Editing has gone on to win Best Picture. But before that, if you're looking at my graphic from the last 10 years, none of the Best Editing winners went on to win Best Picture. So are we supposed to presume that whoever wins Best Editing now is just the Best Picture winner? Or are we on a bit of a 3-year run and eventually that trend is going to break? We've already had some trends break this year in terms of the awards season circuit. Most notably, it was just an accident from Jafar Panahi did not make the Best Picture 10 after being the Palme d'Or winner at the Cannes Film Festival and being distributed by Neon. There has only been one other film that meets that criteria that didn't go on to be nominated for Best Picture in the last 8 years, and that is Titane, which is a very visceral, non-Academy friendly film. So that's the first thing that could happen to mess up One Battle's path here on Oscars night, is that it could miss Picture even with the Best Editing win, or it could possibly not get the Best Editing win if a kind of underdog non-Best Picture player that is largely celebrated as a great edited film, F1, were to surpass it. I still have One Battle predicted to win editing, but I'm just saying it's possible that it gets upset there as well. And in my predictions, I do have Sinners winning screenplay as well, just like PTA. This time would be for original, but it's still a writing or a screenplay award. And I have Sinners getting the only acting prize among the 2 films on Oscars night. Now, that is my current prediction. As these precursors play out, as the circuit tells us a different story perhaps, that may change. But what will not change is how much weight I think an acting prize plays into your Best Picture winner this year. I think whichever of these 2 films gets a prize for acting would put them over the hump to be the Best Picture winner. I think that's Wunmi Mosaku right now, coming off of the success that I'm expecting her to have, particularly at the BAFTAs and maybe even the SAG Awards, depending on how strong someone with a career narrative like Amy Madigan for Weapons might be there. But even if Amy Madigan wins at the SAG, Wunmi would not be losing to a One Battle actress like Teyana Taylor. Going on to the BAFTA, which would follow the SAG a few weeks later, whoever wins there for supporting actress is probably going to be my pick to win it at the Academy Awards. So if Wunmi wins there, I have her winning the Oscar. If Teyana wins there, I will probably predict her to win the Oscar. Either way, whoever wins that Oscar for supporting actress is in the film that I think is going to win Best Picture. If you look at the comps from previous Best Picture winners for these 2 films and the packages that I think they will have, Sinners would actually have a bit more of an impressive overall haul or basket on the night of. They would have the screenplay and the supporting acting or acting prize in general, because One Battle won't have one considering the scenario. They would also have Best Score for Ludwig Göransson and cinematography as well, which is a huge precursor on the technical side. I also have them currently winning Best Casting, which the SAG Ensemble might tell us a different story, and if so, I'll change that tune when we get there. But right now I do have Sinners as the winning Oscar for Best Cast as well. So with those 3 technical awards, if I think we're considering casting technical, and screenplay, and an acting prize, and beating the record and having the narrative as the most nominated film in the history of the Academy Awards, and giving you those couple comps to Sinners, which would really have been Moonlight and Green Book in terms of what their haul is. Sinners would have been a little more impressive, though, with the below-the-line or the technical wins that those films did not have. When you look at One Battle After Another, if it gets director, screenplay, and editing, but nothing else, what's the comp there? Really, there's not one for that type of package, at least that specific package. The closest thing would be Parasite. Parasite had director, screenplay, and international feature, so not a technical award like editing, but another big prize that can take a film a long way when it comes to voting broadly across the Academy. And let's not forget the mass appeal, really, for both of these movies, but specifically for Sinners, the box office success for that film, and how it was really the first big blockbuster of 2025 that a lot of people think really breathed new life into cinema and theaters in general. And with the news of Warner Brothers and Netflix and the whole purchase and merger, whatever you want to call it there, looks pretty grim for us theater-loving cinephiles, at least. Will that possibly play into it? There's so many other abstract factors, at least until we get those concrete precursor data points of things like the PGA, the BAFTA, the SAG, and of course the DGA. But until then, I don't really know. So I can't wait to get all of the comments down below. What is going to win Best Picture this year? A lot of you are going to say, oh, it's a no-brainer, it's One Battle. And I'm currently predicting One Battle, but I have definitely taken off the parentheses of no-brainer for my prediction, because I can definitely see a world where the landscape shifts just enough with an acting win, with the narrative for Ryan Coogler, with the 16 nominations, the most ever nominated, and we don't think that that has at least a good shot to be a Best Picture winner. I don't know. I want to hear what you think. Let me know down below what your Best Picture winner is. Is it possibly a film that is not One Battle After Another or Sinners, and why? It's going to be exciting, which I will say I'm very, very pleased, because like I said earlier on a different video, I can't lose. Whichever one of these movies, or frankly any of the movies, wins Best Picture, this was a great year for film. I'm excited to see how it turns out. Let me know down below what you think is going to win Best Picture. Did any of this just make you more confused like it did me when I was compiling it? Let me know. I'll talk to you guys next time in the garage.